Hi, I'm Perry Atkinson, General Manager here at theDove. Hey, check out our other videos and check out our website at thedove.us. Well, we're back, and of course we're coming up towards the end of the year, graduation, and a lot of students will be planning about going off to college and pursuing a career. I'm delighted to have with us today Jan Miller. He is a student loan consultant, president of Miller Student Loan Consulting. And by the way, his website, if you want to check it out, student-loan-consultant.com, and get a lot of information. Yeah, nice to have you with us. And this is a big topic because I'm seeing more and more stories in the news about what they say, loan-free degree, if that's right. If that's possible. You know. So what do you do? How do you help a student?
Well, where I come in is when they're already in debt.
Okay.
So your school and your financial aid will probably help you get in debt if you want to. And once you realize, oh no, I'm in debt, then you come to me and I can help you manage the debt. And that goes everywhere from helping people who are in trouble with making payments to people who, professionals who just want to organize it and maintain it the best way possible.
Are these loans negotiable after, I mean, can you work them around a little bit and make them more livable when you come out?
More so than any other type of loan.
Really?
There's a lot of news, for example, lately about forgiveness programs and the income-based repayment program. But there have already been a number of different options available for borrowers for 30, 40 years. So there are a myriad of different things available for borrowers, and in most circumstances, everyone qualifies for something.
Why is this subject in the news lately? Well, I mean, it seems to be pretty popular today. Some students just don't want to say, I'm going to forego my degree. I don't want to come out with a $50,000 debt or whatever it is. Yeah,
but more and more students are having to take out debt because the price of tuition is going up.
Right.
So, and the government help is not increasing at the rate of inflation, so it's requiring more and more people to take out loans. So if you can avoid debt, of course, do it. But a lot of people, to accomplish their goals and achieve the career that they want, they are having to take out debt.
How expensive is it to get a degree today, just a 4-year degree?
Well, yeah, that varies widely depending on where you go.
Right.
Certainly it raises about 6% a year, so that is probably the best gauge to go by.
Is forgiving student loan an issue? I mean, can it be forgiven at all? Can somebody? I know you can't use bankruptcy to get out from underneath it, but do people forgive it?
It happens. Yes, there's something called the Public Student Loan Forgiveness Program. And that is designed for people who work for nonprofit organizations, for example, or for government agencies. But you have to you have to qualify for it. And not only do you have to have a qualified employer, but you have to make a minimal amount of money so that you qualify for a lower payment. Because they don't just forgive it right away. They require you to make 10 years, in most cases, of payments on time at a lower amount based on your income, and then forgive the rest.
Wow. Now, when you take out a student loan, are you deferring payment but acquiring interest up till the day you graduate? Is that what happens?
On the unsubsidized portion of the loan, yes. While you're in school, the unsubsidized portion of your loan, so you have a subsidized portion and an unsubsidized portion. On the subsidized portion, basically means the government is covering interest or paying for the interest while you're in a deferment status or in in-school status. But the rest of the loan, which is usually over half of it, accrues interest. And that doesn't even include private loans, which always accrue interest.
All right, so somebody's, they're coming out of college, and one of the problems is they're coming out of college when they're well educated, they got great degrees, but the work environment just isn't there. And all of a sudden they've got this huge payment. What do you do for them?
Well, the first thing I do is try and quell their fears. The media has kind of shed a lot of negative light on student loans. It's over $1.2 trillion in total debt. A lot of the reason for the recent media coverage on it. So the first thing I do is I explain to them, I'll listen to their situation, I'll gather the information I need to get an idea of what their situation is. And then I'll let them know that most likely there's options for them. Almost in every case, it can be handled and be managed, even if you have private loan debt, which is even scarier. You know, you don't qualify for federal programs from that, but it can be managed. There's help for everyone, and that's what I really want to get across to people, that you shouldn't fear it, that you can, you know, embrace it, and it is an investment in yourself and in your career and in your finances, and as long as you keep a positive attitude about it, there's always something that can be done.
Do most students come out who use the loan way to get their degree, do they come out with multiple loans or usually one?
Yeah, you know, most of my clients have multiple loans, multiple lenders, multiple types of loans.
Whoa.
So it gets very confusing. You may have a Sallie Mae, what's called a smart loan, or a smart option loan, which is a private loan. And then you may have Stafford and Grad Plus loans. And a lot of times when people go to different schools, they end up with different lenders as well. So they may owe Sallie Mae $20,000, and they may owe direct loans, or somebody like Nelnet another $20,000. So keeping track of it can be confusing.
All right, can they be consolidated?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean they should all the time.
Okay.
So consolidation definitely is an option for people. Remember that it's going to lengthen your term, which is going to lengthen the amount of interest that you pay over the life of the loan. Also, when you consolidate, they round up the interest rate to the nearest 1/8%. So, which, you know, makes about a total of $1,000 in interest per $30,000 loan over the life of the loan. So, on a 25-year term. So, it's something that you want to consider. Also, you may be giving up certain deferment, forbearance, or repayment options by consolidating. It'll change some of the regulations are complicated, and depending on what your loans are like, or what your situation is and what loans you have, it may be in your best interest to not consolidate.
This is unbelievable. It's a big issue, but I know a lot of students who've come out and they've worked hard to get their degree, and they're strapped like unbelievable. I don't know, how much debt does the average one come out with?
Well, the average federal debt is around $29,000 and rising, of course, right now. I have clients who have over $500,000 in debt. Yeah, probably my worst case scenario, I have a client named Sandra who has $570,000 in debt, and she makes $65,000 a year. And she literally called me in a panic, and it can be pretty scary.
How do you do that? I mean, you going to school forever or what?
It's fascinating to me too, how people end up, you know. I think what happens too is she's a podiatrist, and they go through the medical program a lot of times, but they don't quite finish. So they pay for all the school. This is just one example. Right. And lawyers too. It happens for anybody who has years and years of school. And then they get out, and either the economy's changed, so the jobs aren't there, or they didn't finish, and they have to take a job that's not as high paying as they expected.
Wow. All right, so if you're in that position and you need some help, Jan's here to help you. student-loan-consultant.com. And how are you compensated?
I provide free information to people on my website and when they have general questions, but people who want my help organizing their loans and managing repayment, then they pay me a one-time fee to do that. So I have a membership, for example.
Okay. And there are, what I'm hearing you say here is that the issue is, if you're coming out and you're burdened with debt, there are solutions to this problem.
There really are. There are a lot. And that's what you fail to see on the media. You know, they talk about the debt. And, you know, income-based repayment and consolidation is a small fraction of what's available. And, you know, less than 10% of the people are going to qualify for those programs.
So what do? You negotiate terms and length to terms? Is that what happens?
Well, you know, the federal government, with federal loans, there's no negotiation. They're just federal regulations, but it's complicated. So understanding those regulations is like understanding the tax code. it really is that complicated.
Good luck, huh?
You know, when the government gets involved, you know.
Yeah.
I understand them entirely, and I help people make sound decisions based on what their loans are, and I give them all of their options, which they may not be aware of.
Wow. Well, there you go. There's some advice for you. Do you work with students prior to taking out a loan? Would there be advice? Are you a good guy to talk to before they go down this road? You
know, I do that on a larger basis, so I may go speak at a college or something like that to try and lower their default rate by giving basic education on a general basis, saying, hey, you know, there's a lot of help for you. Let me give you an example of wildly not known about student loans and how they differ from all other loans. People don't, this doesn't make sense in the financial world, but in student loans it does. And that is, for example, it doesn't matter how past due you are, as long as your loan isn't defaulted, the delinquency does not disqualify you for any type of available programs. So a lot of times people get so past due, they can't deal with it anymore, and they think there's no help for them because they can't make up that payment. Well, they won't have to as long as they qualify for one of the programs. They meet the qualifications, which are pretty easy. There's some programs that actually everyone qualifies for. So, for example, forbearance. Everybody gets a certain amount of forbearance afforded to them. And it's not something you want to abuse, of course, but if you don't know it's there or you think that you don't qualify, it can be a lifesaver.
Wow. Interesting. All right. So if you, again, want to contact Dan, it's student-loan-consultant.com, and go to that website, take a look at what he provides. And if you're going down that road, he might be a great resource. If you're trapped in it, he'd be a great resource. Dan, thanks for coming in.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
We'll be right back.